time for this Kage Podcast 3, and we got some shit to talk about today.
You already know.
And I know today we're gonna talk about some Bleach content, like just some Bankais and just some different narrative things that we enjoyed about Bleach. But we're also gonna talk about the internal fight of the modern woman. I know most of the time when it comes to making content, I don't do a lot of complaining about or talking about what women should or shouldn't be doing. And I don't plan to do a lot of that here either. But it doesn't mean that I don't like to do a deep dive to motivate the thought processes behind certain actions and how they can affect things going into the future. Because I have clients, but my clients aren't only men. I also have women clients, and uh, these are just some things to be aware of.
Yeah, for sure. Because definitely dealing women in modern times, it could be very different and very difficult to interpret, what you're really experiencing with that woman and how she may truly feel about you. You know what I'm saying?
And I think a big part of it is like exposure. It's exposure because I believe that women have always been women, right? Women have always been women. It's just sometimes for the average man. And I'll put it like this: like, let's just say that like communism or let's say socialism is to monogamy, right? What capitalism is to a culture that is sexually permissive. That's pretty much what it is. So right now we still live in a society that still puts more of an emphasis, but at the same time the sexual landscape is more so capitalistic. You know what I mean? Capitalistic. So being in more of a sexually capitalistic type of society, if we're viewing sex as a resource, not saying women are objects or anything like that, but let's keep it a buck. That's how a lot of men are gonna feel about things is, access to sex is a resource in their mind that strokes a lot of men's egos. But instead of it being a socialist thing to where society puts pressure on and rewards monogamy and marriage and punishes promiscuity and being sexually permissive, that's not what it is like that as much anymore. So when that is the case, but things are different, it's a duplicitous society. And duplicity has always been here. It'll always be here. But when we're looking at these different concepts, this is how I see it. So, like, socialism is to a society that believes in every man to a woman or every woman to a man versus a society that allows for more permissive things. So, if it's a place where women can have their own resources, then oftentimes the cream rises to the crop. And the cream rises to the top. And as a man, it's your job to be at the top. You decide for yourself what the top is that you're rising towards. But in every lane that you're in, there are going to be women who like that. So if your goal is to do that financially, understand that no matter what role you want to play, it's still going to be competitive. Even if you find your own complete lane, there is another nigga who is like you. And you decide for yourself what the 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 scale or the standard is about what lane you want to be in. It doesn't have to be about money. It can be about purpose. There's niggas who are more purpose driven than you are. It doesn't have to be about purpose. It can be about looks. There's niggas who look better. You could just be the best version of yourself. But even then, there's other people who are like you. So uh, these are just the things to think about.
Right. And just to add to what you're saying, man, like yeah, in this world that is more so capitalistic and you know what I'm saying, I feel as though that there is a need now, right, for in a lot of women's minds, right, to go for the top of men more in today's time than it was available and privy in women's minds back in the day. Right now, right? because women are seeing the increase of abundance and they're seeing the increase of financial opportunities, financial freedom, being able to be put on these platforms and be able to make a sustainable living, being a provider is not the number one necessity of women anymore, man. So as a man, your caliber more so speaks to your own self improvement. That's what sets you apart. And you need to focus on your individual characteristics and personalities and mold those things, define those things. That's what makes you be more of a standout man nowadays. You can't like, it's like what Brody's saying, like, you can't expect that you're special just because you do what you do. There's 8 billion people in this world, man. And you think about, you think that there's not a million people like you, man. She
Like,
has,
on stuff. Like, you want to know some real shit right here? Like, you would think that I'm even me. I'm saying this even about myself, man. Listen, I'm a rapper. I'm a producer. I'm uh, I'm a guy who's into anime. I'm a bald nigga who's black with a beard. And I done met women who who I shifted their imprint, but guess what? As they started dealing with me, if I shifted their imprint, they just found a great value in me. So even when it comes to somebody who's in such different lanes as I'm in, a woman can still find a man who's into a good bit of things I'm in, and depending on how attractive she is, what options she has, what men she has access to, she can find men who may be doing better in those different areas than I am. That's why a lot of things are about that value that's inside of you, who you are, but also your game, and your game plays a big part to it. But also your emotional discipline, your emotional intelligence, not in the way that Sage Burns we talking about. I'm talking about like real emotional intelligence and accountability, social intelligence. And let's not discount having some good dates. That helps too. Man, let's not bullshit.
helps tremendously, my boy. Because if you don't have sex with her in a way that imprints her, you will never keep her. It will only be your turn, my boy.
And I'll put it like this, man. It's like, and it's not just the sex that does it, but sex helps. See, you
Yeah,
have,
it's just one of the components.
yeah, it's just a conduit, right? It's just a conduit for your dominance. It's a conduit for your masculine energy, for giving her a certain experience. And for me, I like to pretty much lead with it. And I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. When it when it comes to experiences that I've had, I've been treated better than probably most married men have been treated. And my guy right here, he's seen it firsthand. It is what it is. You got to have other qualities and attributes to yourself.
I think to add on, I think a big a big part of that is what he was talking about, accountability, man. Accountability and emotional intelligence and social intelligence. Those things play critical factors in how a woman is going to respect you as a man. You gotta have solid accountability on what you choose to do and on what you choose not to do or say. You, if you have something to say, if you have something to really um express, you need to express it, but in a masculine way, not in an over an emotional way. That's where the emotional intelligence come in, understanding that a man is his ability to control his emotions at any given time in any situation, to know the right answer by being logical and really being an observer of other people, of his woman, and of himself. Being an observer will help you easily more so navigate and know what to do. But you have to be a competent man, which means you have to have some knowledge about what you're going through. And that goes back to what Brody was talking about, exposure. You need exposure to certain situations with women to understand how to operate. But the problem is, in most society today, most guys do not have what opportunity to have an exposure, because guess what? The tab went up on all of us dudes. And so they want to be with the 5%ers, the 6%ers, 10%ers. Now, if you're desired, right? If you desire outside of that, right? And say you're broke, that goes back to like a Chad and Ray Ray, a Pookie and Ray Ray. And you want to know the main thing that gets women to fuck with them is their ability to focus on their purpose and not prioritize them, but prioritize themselves and what they need to do for themselves. That shows strength and that makes women feel safe because you are protecting your shit and you own your shit.
You know what? And I'm gonna say this right here too. And this is going. Some people probably ain't going to agree with this, but the truth is this right here: the purpose really only has but so much to do with having success with women, right? And really, what the purpose does is finding a way to take a certain level of non-attachment and to circumvent or to transmute that energy into something that elevates yourself and creates self-improvement. And but truthfully, this is where we got to get into the gentleman gigolo complex. And when we talk about accountability, right? Like when we talk about this accountability, what are you being accountable to, right? Because there's being accountable to yourself, your program, uh, your spiritual beliefs, your convictions as a man, and then there's also a woman trying to hold you accountable to her social programming. And those are two completely different things, right? And that's why you need to be integrated between how you want to interact with a woman, what you consider to be acceptable behavior, uh, being attractive for the outcome that you desire, knowing that you can get that consistently, whether or not it's that woman or not, because that's what masculinity is. It's being more concerned on how you do things than who you do it with. And then also a matter of making sure that your spiritual beliefs, your religious beliefs, and your behaviors are in line. Because if there's too much confliction between those, then it can create issues. Uh, and this is where the gentleman gigolo complex comes in at. That complex is really a matter of the masculine submissive and the feminine dominant, right? Let's say a woman is dealing with a guy. Uh, Typically, the gentleman, he has masculinity, right? But he's a submissive individual, right? That masculinity, it creates that structure and that foundation of some stability, right? But it's stability without excitement. And the gigolo is the excitement without the stability. That's the feminine dominant. You know, with the gigolo, the woman can't truly respect or trust or give herself over to being submissive with that man, right? Uh, because she doesn't respect him enough for that to override that social programming, to be receptive to the influence of a different outlook at life. So she'll deal with that and get the pleasure from it. And sometimes use it as a way of distracting herself from herself. But ultimately, when she wants to grow in her self love and wants to grow in her self respect and grow in herself, oftentimes she's going to view that man as an obstacle to overcome versus a partner to grow with. And not every man, just because the man is fucking everything, doesn't mean that those women respect him or truly follow him or view him as long term or as a leader.
Yeah, for sure. In a lot of cases, women allow a lot of dudes, right, that to just smash because they don't see the value. A lot of times it's actually quite the opposite. They don't see it as a long term partner, so you know what I'm saying, they're fine with just taking short term gratification, get some dick, you know what I'm saying, maybe get some food and shit, and just be cool on that type tip. You feel me? Because they just know what they want in that situation. For some, it's not always the case, but for the most part, a lot of these women actually be fucking these dudes early because they highly attracted to them, but they know they can't keep those dudes. So they say, okay, I'm gonna just have my fun for now.
That's a real thing. And that's where the internal fight comes in at, right? Because the internal fight, well, I'll put it like this: the highest place of pleasure is the place of authority, right? So that means that, let's say an individual is dealing with somebody, or let's say we're talking about the quadrant. If where you're receiving the highest place of pleasure is also where you're receiving influence, where you're respecting the individual, you're receiving guidance, and it's something that also helps you self actualize, then you're able to tap into the feminine submissive, right? And within the feminine submissive, you're with an abundance mindset. So from there on, you integrate, right? But if the place where you receive the highest place of emotional and or sexual pleasure is somewhere that you don't view as offering a certain level of stability to go into the future, then you often will find yourself in a position where it'll work more so like an addiction and unhealthy attachment or a trauma bond than a connection that actually helps you improve yourself, even if that's the intentions of the other person. And that's the tough part about it.
For sure. And I be honest with you, I've been in multiple situations where it was more so of a trauma bond because of that, you know, that exact situation you're naming right there.
Yeah, it happens, man. And I think that it's tough, right? Because you got to think, man, this is the Blurred Podcast, right? It's Bro Kage Podcast. We might need to find another name. Maybe call it the Anime and Chill Podcast. I don't know. But when it comes to that things, that's the internal fight, right? The internal fight is that program versus that social programming, right? A person who is submissive at their core is someone who is going to yield to whatever is dominant force in their environment. And that dominant force can be the dominant force of their emotions or whatever appears to have the most strength that surround them. And when things work that way, things can often work like, let's say, uh, a woman may feel like, man, this guy feels good. Like I love him, or, I'm infatuated with him, I'm experiencing limerence, but I don't trust him as a leader, right? And sometimes she's right. You could probably say she's always right, but sometimes it has more to do with social programming and tradition and wanting to stick within that cycle than it is the man not actually being qualified. And but the thing is this, that might just be a woman's intuition, but it's a tough thing because it's like sometimes you want to balance out the power and control that you give up through putting it in one area. So a woman may say in one area, it's like, okay, I can love this man, or I can be in a relationship with this man, but I can't be transactional with my body if I enjoy having sex with him too much. And my cup is already low. So if I sleep with him too much, I'm gonna get burnt out. So oftentimes for some women, if they're highly sexually attracted to a guy, it may be a situation where she only really intends for that to be more so a fling so that she can get her shit off for a little while and then be able to move on to kind of go back into more of a shell, uh, or to jump to the next guy. But it's not always something where just because a high level of sexual attraction is there, that it's going to be something that's sustainable over the long term. And some women have experienced being dignitized. They've experienced having some great words from a dude who was maybe very emotionally distant, and she chased after the guy, and maybe he lied to her, maybe he didn't, and she felt like she gave up so much of herself that she started to lose herself. So she has this fear of being alpha willed and has this, it's like a subconscious primal thing that's just inside of me, like if a dude's too attractive, but I don't know. You know what I mean? It's one of those things to where a woman will often say, okay, cool, if I want to have some type of leverage in a relationship or to get treated the way I want to, it has to be a guy who I desire on a small enough level to be able to leverage access to sex with him to make sure that he's willing to invest the time and the energy to get to know me first. So if she wants you too much to be able to do that, then for some women, after they put their hand on the stove a couple of times, then they'll keep that as only sex material, just to gigolo. And then if it's low enough, but the non-sexual attraction is high enough, that'll be the gentleman.
Yeah,
And it's just a cycle. It's just a cycle that you go through.
yeah, man, and The key is to break the cycle by figuring out where do you want to be as far as respect is concerned, and what position do you want to be with the woman that you like. Do you want to be the dude, you know what I'm saying, that's being overly nice and getting used? Or do you want to be the guy, right, that has the accountability, that's respected by men and women, and gets the attraction based upon the value he carries within himself? You have to decide what type of man you want to be, but it all starts with first, you can't be scared to say what you want, claim about what you want, and go for what you want. That's what it's all about. When you being too nice, you too scared, man. When you accountable to yourself, you have no fear. This is what's going to invoke you to be more bold. This is what's going to invoke you to make more daring chances. You know what I'm saying? As a man, an attractive quality for a man is a man that takes risks, that's unafraid of the danger. Because, as men, we live in a world where we constantly face danger. And if you walk around afraid, how can men respect that when they know everything around them is dangerous? And you know what I'm saying? If push comes to shove, you falling over. And you have to get in tune with the reality of life, which is, as a man you must sharpen your blade, as a man you must get smarter, as a man you must improve, because if you don't improve, the alternative is a lackluster life or a miserable one.
You know what? And I think this is a great segue to talk about, keeping your blade sharp. The thing to understand is this, and I got a video coming out soon called The Outsourcing Game that I'm breaking down a lot of different aspects of things. But as a man, you got to set standards. And one of those things, you got to make sure that you're a certain level of sexually compatible, and also that the energy is good, that the polarity is there. Because when the polarity is not there, things will typically turn into either abuse or transaction, which will eventually lead to resentment and bitterness on one side or both, right? And there is this cycle of validation. Now, both people need to have a certain level of self love, self respect, and self esteem, self soothing in them, right? Everybody has to have that. But above a certain level, there's a certain reciprocation of energy that keeps things afloat. It's a volley of energy. And this is where it kind of relates to Brody scale of sexual attraction. And this is also where it relates to different things, right? Because when, as a man, when your core is to be dominant and you spend too much time submitting yourself to a woman being the one who's in control and not adequately handling being in control of the sexual interactions, then this starts to erode at and dull your blade. You start to become domesticated. You start to lose your game, especially if you get prematurely into a monogamous relationship with a woman. Like, oftentimes, let's say she views you as the feminine dominant, or let's say you're a dominant type of guy. A lot of women, there's this internal fight. And that internal fight, like I said, is, her social programming versus the man's program. If it's a man who's dominant, a lot of women's goal is not to have a full man, right? Who's everything that they need to a certain extent. They might want that at first, but oftentimes a woman's idea is she wants to get a future to act like a Russell, right? And that's how men get domesticated, right? And one way that can work is if the energy volley isn't right, which means that you can either maintain your dominance and keep that blade sharp through dealing with multiple women and flirting with and or talking to and dating multiple women constantly to keep your sword sharp, or you have to deal with a woman who you could integrate with, or at least deal with a woman on a high level of polarity and that you've seen consistency with, to where she can be a sheath for your blade, as in she's receptive to the level of dominance that you have to give, that it turns her on. And there's different levels of sexual attraction that go into that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I feel like when um one way to help you keep your blade sharp is staying disciplined on a daily basis. Um Having some daily goals that give you feelings of accomplishment. One thing that we as humans typically try to avoid is our emotions, but everything we do in life is dictated off of our emotions. So even success and failure hit us hard in our emotions, right? So how can you leverage feeling bad, right? How can you leverage the bad emotions? Here's what I found, and here's what I've done, and it's actually worked tremendously. It's like make small things, practice the art of showing up. Give yourself 5 things you got to do today on a daily basis, right? And you'll realize you'll start to feel more confident from the fact of you're accomplishing something out your day, right? And if you make that your standard, right, to at the bare minimum do those 5 things, right? But every day, right, you're aiming to do more than those 5 things, right? If you do that consistently, you're gonna see a massive growth in how you deal with women, how you deal with yourself. Because I think there's a disconnect in guys realizing what makes the blade sharp. It's the suffering of men that makes the blade sharp. The hunger, right? You ever saw a rapper and he said that, once he got comfortable, right, his hunger went away. The hunger comes from struggle. The hunger comes from suffering. The hunger comes from being around danger. When you get comfortable, you remove yourself from the environment of danger. But danger is where masculinity is formed. Suffering, and I'm not talking about suffering like you're going through just internal pain. Suffering meaning like you're going through hard labor, you're going through hard work, right? It's like when you're reading a book, right? And you read 26 pages back to back, right? And you start to get the information overload. You start feeling like, damn, I can't finish reading this book or this chapter tonight. Here's what I mean by suffering. There's a degree of suffering when you have it put in the work to get to a certain level. So information overload comes from you reaching your limit of capacity. When you suffer, right, you pass your limits. So everything that you do to sharpen your blade is to exceed your limits, exceed your expectation. That gives you an emotional advantage because you're feeling more fulfilled than most people. So even if what I'm saying, even if you don't have everything, right, you have emotion because you have goals and you have an aspiration. So you're working towards something, you're going to get results in something. And that's what makes a man more confident in himself.
And that's some real stuff, and that's where discipline comes in. I think part of it is we just gotta accept that suffering cannot be avoided, right? Uh, Either we pick it or it picks us.
Yeah, we have to embrace it because whether you like it or not in your life, you're going to have to go through suffering. It doesn't matter what you feel about suffering, it doesn't matter in the long term, right? That you're suffering because suffering doesn't last forever. It only lasts for a short period of time. And then when you come out of that, you're going to realize that you came back better than you did before. The reason is you passed the limit of your emotional capacity for that thing before. Before you was at a roadblock, right? And then you entered something like suffering. And then you was down on an emotional low, right? But as time went by, you were slowly your emotions were slowly becoming more positive because the old feelings, the old emotions, you were forgetting it in your subconscious. Like that really how it works. Like over time you tend to forget. That's why you hear the saying, right? Time heals all wounds. Because if you're working on yourself, right, you're gonna start to forget all the things of the past. Not forget the experience, but forget the pain. And so that's gonna but you're going to remember the situation and that's going to make you more emotionally intelligent to handle the next situation. So it's really about levels, man. You go to one level and then you go to the next. But you can only go to the next level if you're willing to endure the suffering. So in life, you only go as far as you're willing to suffer.
And check this out right here, right? This is where the polarity quadrant is important, right? No matter which role you play within a sexual polarity quadrant, there are ways that you can miss out. The fear of missing out can't be avoided. You have to kind of put that shit out your mind, right? Or at least take a very serious thought into thinking about your future and the decisions that you're making, right? Because the feminine submissive is like being an artist, right? When you're an artist, you have to suffer through frustration and sometimes physical strain and sometimes financial strain when you're trying to perfect just learning your craft, not alone, let alone even producing it or putting it out, just learning how to do it in the first place. The feminine submissive is when you're malleable to how you're giving up control. And that's where there's the emotion that's involved in it, right? And as a man, you have to be feminine and submissive to your own vision, to your own program, to where that's the thing that gives you the most pleasure in life. And it's also good to include having God be a part of that, right? Like if your spiritual beliefs are aligned with your program, your feministness towards your program, the internal enjoyment that you get out of pursuing your goals and your aspirations and your vision, if that's where you receive the most pleasure in life, then it's a lot easier to be masculine and dominant when you're dealing with a woman so that she can be feminine submissive with you, right? Because the truth is this: there's only but so much space for masculinity off top. There's only but so much space for femininity off top. There's only but so much space for dominance up top. There's only but so much space for submissiveness up top. You have to embrace, you don't have to, but I suggest embracing your primary role and showing that you can operate in that role before trying to delve off into other shit. Like, honestly, like, do what you're doing first. And if that person is able to operate in the polarity with you, right? And you get to a point where you want to integrate and they've made it through the process, they made it through that journey, being on your program, you make sure that it's an enjoyable process and not something that's so unbearable that nobody would want to do it. But after you go through that process, you're like, okay, cool. All this time that I've spent being masculine and dominant, that time and energy you spend is something that you're not receiving as much pleasure, right? Masculinity stifles submissiveness, so it's less pleasure being masculine than being feminine. And then also, being dominant is less pleasurable than being submissive. Because when you're dominant, you're primarily taking pleasure from being in control. It's the ego boost of being in control that makes being dominant worth it, right? It's just the masculinity concentrates and adds focus to your dominance so that there's a goal and there's a direction behind it so that that power isn't being put to waste. The power is being put in towards your goals in the future, right?
Hmm.
But the feminine submissive, that's it's not only a woman who can do that. As a man, you need to be feminine submissive towards your goals, your vision, your your purpose, right? And by doing that, it'll keep you right front and center because what you got to understand is about this internal fight, right, of the modern woman. And uh, and the reason I got to bring this up is this: sometimes as a man, before you really got game, before you really know yourself, you'll listen to what women have to say. And sometimes they'll tell you one thing and do the exact opposite. Or sometimes they'll tell you one thing and it's like, damn, these women don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. And it's like, listen, she's not supposed to. See, that'll fuck a dude up to
Hmm.
realize that. Because he's trying to talk to the woman to get a handbook on how to deal with her. Why would a fish teach you how to catch them?
Exactly. Because men have to realize that women is set up in such a way, right, where it's in their nature to test the caliber of man that you are. You know what I'm saying? Some men look at this as, oh, she's playing games and stuff like that. It's kind of like, nah, like when you a man, like Amar says, that has a foundation, right? Your foundation being your purpose. Your purpose, right, creates you to have a singular focus, right, on your self improvement, which means that is a ladder for you to go up. And so when you don't focus on yourself and you don't focus on your self appeal, uh, your your sex appeal, you don't work on your health, you don't work on your knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You have to come to the conclusion of, am I doing what I need to better myself, and am I standing on my words? Because see, if you stand on your words, right, when she tests you, you cannot fail the test. You can't fail the test if you're respecting yourself. You can't fail the test if you're emotionally intelligent to know what you want to be in, what you don't want to be in, and you're okay with walking away. You're okay with separating from that thing. Those is that is where your power is as a man, to realize that your life is not centered around women, it's centered around your purpose and your life's mission. And like Amar said, God, if you choose to believe in him or you have a different religion, it doesn't matter. It matters that you stand to the rhetoric of what you said your life stands by.
And the thing about it is this right here too, right? Now check this out. You know, there's a difference between asking for pussy and offering dick. And there's a difference between giving dick out willy-nilly versus telling yourself and being clear that dick ain't free, which is that a woman has to do certain things in order to be worthy of being blessed and with being touched by the royal penis. I'm just keeping the buck with you. And that's about self-value, right? But it's also about confidence based off of competency and skill. And the thing about it when it comes to tests is this: a woman's gonna test you if she's unsure. Now let's cut the bullshit for a second, right? For most dudes who are listening to this type of content, there's gonna be some who then already got it, right? Cool. You don't need to be here, then take your ugly ass on somewhere, right? Cool. And I mean, you ain't ugly, you know. Well, I don't know. You might be. That's not my business. I don't really dudes, but anyways. But what I'm saying is this right here, right? For most dudes who are learning this type of stuff, you're in between knowing your program and knowing the social programming of a woman. And oftentimes, how women speak is in double speak. It's like built up in a way to weed out the weak from the strong by nature. It's not even a purposeful thing, right? It's like, let's say, a woman will tell you exactly what she wants, right? But if you seek for her to explain it and break it down, it's going to paint that in a complete opposite picture of what she actually wants. It's like, let's say a woman says, I wish men were consistent. That's true. That is 100% true, right? But if you want her to break it down and you're a socially programmed man, then you're going to think consistent means she wants me to text her all the time, talk to her all the time, always be trying to pursue her for dates, always be trying to do this, always be trying to do that, and be on her dick like crazy, right? And that's what they think that consistency is, quote unquote, applying pressure. But really, consistency can be simple as this is what I say I'm trying to do, and I'm not moving off the square. That's also consistency.
Right, showing that that your convictions and your rules aren't a joke. That you stand by that shit. How can someone take you seriously if every time they test you on your principles, you fold on it? No one's gonna respect you that way. You know what
True.
I'm saying?
And I also want to say this right here, too, on some real stuff. Uh, you also got to understand what emotional safety is, right? And I will say that there are a lot of men who do operate out of toxic abundance, right?
It
Which
happens.
is and what is it?
I said it definitely happens, man.
So toxic abundance can be like you just got your first little taste of power and it's fuck everybody, nobody's important, none of these is shit, and You just use them up and spit them out instead of seeing what value that you can pour into them and what value that they can reciprocate and making this something that creates mutual levels of self-actualization that gets the benefit from the situation. Even though I mostly talk about leading with sex and different things like that, even that has a certain level of self-actualization and fulfillment that can come out of it. And there's ways that that can start to permeate into out of just the bedroom. And as long as you have the traits that can follow that, then it can go. Like, and this some Reggie's seen, like, because this is my boy right here, right? Me and him, we known each other for some years, so he's seen scenarios I've been in with women to where, like, he can attest. I ain't,
You can believe it
I
if I told you. Trust.
listen, I used to make chicken. You know what I mean? I had to spend no money on them. I just said what I said, let it be what it was, and I knew how to touch certain nerves in the psyche of a woman to where, like, you've been there before, where I was, let's say a woman would be over, and I could see her energy start to change a little bit. And I look in her eye, and I'd be like, look me in my eyes, say this dick ain't good. The whole energy change. But I know, that's something you do forever or something like that. But it's just some men do move different than what people say. My point is just to say that you can also flip certain transactional mindsets women have about sex to where they feel like investing in you off of that as well. And that takes the power off of that aspect of it to where if they respect you and sex can't be transactional because of how much they desire it, they automatically tap into the feminine submissive.
100%. Um, and I would say this as well. If you being um you being perceptive to her emotion is like super important, man. Understanding what to do and why to do it and what she needs in the moment. Just being emotionally intelligent in that way, that's a big plus. You know what I'm saying? You could literally turn a bad situation into a good situation by simply knowing the emotional responses to use. And it goes back to the psychology. It really just comes back to sociology and psychology itself, man. And the study of people, the study of the mind, the study of actions. You have to really dive deep in that, man. Dive deep into it and realize that we are no different. Like as far as like desire is concerned, right? Like everyone wants sex. So you gotta not treat it like can't you can't treat sex like a taboo, man. And you can't go around here shaming nobody for sex because you kind of like put a lock on the door. You get what I'm saying? For the shame and the guilt, which is one of the topics we gonna get into. Um, but you'll see society says she can't be sexual. She goes outside. She's called a whore. So you can't be surprised when a lot of girls do things behind the scenes, right? With the level of judgment that a lot of dudes misplace on women because they don't understand the dynamics or what's really going on or what they really desire. And a lot of times, most people who do these certain things, right? They haven't really ever been put on the game with a woman. They don't really know how a woman think or why she processes shit a certain way. And so when you don't know that shit, right, you'll think like we discussed earlier that applying pressure is being all on the dick, calling it every day. But I'm a testament to the situation of um in the 48 laws of power, right? They mention the skill of absence making the heart grow fonder is a psychology method, meaning that the more you're available to people, the less they want to be around you. The more you are exclusive to people, the more they want to get in on your life and see what you're doing.
And you know what? And I think it's important to understand like that what integration is, right? Like unless a woman is in a position where she's receptive to your dominance and your masculinity, but then she also is further appreciative and is able to earn and appreciate the non-sexual things that you do for her and do with her in a way that increases her desire and respect for you, then that's where the gentleman gigolo complex really kicks off at, right? Because you can be the gentleman, right? And you're just getting Scooby snack pussy. That's what that is. It's Scooby snack pussy. Like a simp. What is a simp? That's just a man who's seeking sympathy sex, right? And
Eh,
yeah, that's pretty much not the only thing, but that's a big part of it, right? You're compromising on what you want, or you have no true standards or backbone about what it is, right? Like, that's how it is. But check this out, right? There's also scenarios where a man is on that level, but a woman has to be able to respect you enough to go beyond that. And if she doesn't respect you enough to go beyond that, then that's all you'll ever be. And there's some dudes out here who think that they run and shit, but all they ever get out of woman is pussy.
Oh, and that's so real, man. Shit, they don't even understand.
I mean, there's some niggas who would be happy to be in a spot, but check this out. This is the funny thing about the gentleman gigolo complex, right? When you're a gentleman, every woman you've had sex with was a woman who had some type of feelings for you. If you don't know any better, right? Then when you start getting your game together, you start dealing with women, it's going to be a lot more women that you come across who probably may not even like your ass. They just like the dick you give them. And that's where the integration comes in. But even then, I don't believe in leading with the full package. So it's giving a woman the opportunity to earn the non sexual value that you add to her life. Give her the opportunity to show that this is something that she wants to do, that she desires. That you respect her boundaries by understanding that if she wants something enough, there's not really gonna be a bunch of boundaries around it. And some people gonna say, "Oh no, no, that's messed up. That's this, that's that." Man, fuck it, I don't care. If she don't like you, she ain't gotta fuck with you.
Big facts. Because what one woman want, another woman will. Vice versa. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? You have to realize the life is a numbers game, bro. It really is, bro.
And
And
and I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and I was just gonna say that if you put all your eggs in one basket, when in the history of civilization, right, has putting your one egg in one basket been a good idea? It never been a good idea, right? But if you have the right one, the right the right choice, right? But most people are not going to identify when it's the right choice and when it is just going to be wasted time. You feel me?
Yeah, because you know what? I'm not against monogamy. I'm not against marriage. I'm not against love, family, relationships. I'm a big believer in nuclear homes, or at least primary partnerships, nesting partners that are monogamous, right? And the way I'm looking at these situations is like this right here, right? You got to understand that whatever energy you're operating out of, the opposite is what's in you and waiting to come out. So if you're masculine submissive, right, you're a nice guy. You know what's waiting to come out? It's a fuck boy. It's waiting to come out, right? And how that works is if you're repressing your dominance for so long, it gets pushed into your shadow. Once something gets pushed into your shadow, it comes out in a more negative manner that unconsciously has control of your behaviors. And this right here is a great segue into talking about Kiriko Shunsui's Bankai, right? The stage play, right? The suicide of two lovers, right? And how it starts off is it's a man who slaps a woman, right? He hits a woman, right? The stage one. When he hits the woman, he feels the pain and the guilt and the shame of what he did. So her pain is shared with him, not necessarily physically, but internally, right? Feeling bad for what he did, feeling shame. Now, nobody ever said why he hit the bitch, but I'm gonna leave that alone, right? Now, but listen, that's feminine dominant. He lost control of his emotions and he acted in a dominant way from an emotional place. And he put his hands on a woman. It's not the answer for things. But when he felt that way, when he was going through all that trauma and all that hurt inside of himself for the wrong that he did, the woman must test him. right? And she was like, well, let's commit suicide together. Since you so fucking hurt, you acting like you want to die, nigga, then let's die. Let's do it then. She called his bluff. It's like play chicken, right? And when they went through that, they go from like the second stage, which is where, what it was Lily Ball. I think that's who it was. First stage was the shared pain, right? Where the wounds and injuries that were on Shunsui went into Lily, right? And Lily then had some shots on him, right? And then the next step was being covered in, uh, excuse me, being covered in what looks like boils or some type of plague where blood was bleeding out of it. And I think that's mostly for a psychological, drastic, dramatic effect, right? And then you got the third level, right? Which was for each person to be put into water, like spiritual water, and for their, it's like a water nutrition where their Riatsu went continually lower. And then if whoever tried to leave out of the water, right, would be put in a position where it was like the man who agreed to commit suicide with the woman, then tried to leave out the water, trying to save himself, showing his selfishness and breaking the rules of the game. And through breaking the rules of the game, the fourth stage comes in where they get decapitated. Like the woman cuts the man's throat for being a coward. So these are just things to understand, right? If you're a feminine dominant type of man, like a woman's only going to have so much sympathy for you. You don't want a woman to primarily operate with you off of sympathy, right?
Right. You never want sympathy. You never want pity. You always want to operate from a place of power, man.
And I'll say this: there's going to be times where that may be a thing, right? You just don't want that to be the primary thing or anywhere close to it, right? It's like there might be times where you're with your woman, and sometimes you're like, all right, cool. Maybe she tired one night, or she could tell you had a long day. She's super horny, but she's like, I want to make him feel better, so she give me some head. You know, that's not may not be a situation where she was super horny, but she was still being compassionate. But you don't want that to be the primary mode that she's having sex with you out of, or it'll drain her cup dry, right? And then it'll become something that leads to feeling like pressure and resentment. So if you know your drive is that you want to do it such and such often, and for her, right, that becomes more and more something that she's doing that's going above and beyond her social battery to do it, then it's going to drain her out, and eventually she's going to say some shit to you that you might not like to hear.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I can attest to that too, man. Like, listen, man, don't go that sympathy route. I'm trying to tell you. Now, like you said, there is some times where you're gonna have to be in it. But guess what? That's just the game testing you. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like a test score. You make
Yeah,
80%, you still pass, bitch. You feel me? You make
yeah,
80%, you still pass. But that 20 you didn't get. Like, and that 20% is your life, man. Sometimes that 20%, she gonna feel drained. She ain't gonna want to do shit. But then you gotta understand how to operate and get back on the wagon to get shit back right. You feel me?
yeah, and you can choose not to take it. That's also an option. But if you're somebody who's already in a monogamous situation, ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, there's a difference between, right, like a woman who only sucks your dick on your birthday versus a woman who desires you consistently and wants to do something extra because you just got a promotion, or because you just accomplished something, or because you just dropped your music, or because you hit a new level of subscribers, or because you really showed her that you appreciated her. You did something nice for her. She wants to kick it up a whole notch. Do something special to show she appreciates you. There's a difference between that and a woman who's rationing out less than the bare minimum of what it takes to meet your needs.
Oh yes, man. And if you find a girl that is trying to give you below your bare standard, bro, you should not accept that shit, bro. Because that shit is not good for you, bro. If she's doing below the average, bro, that means the desire is super low. And that means the respect is low too, bro. And her social programming is strong as hell. So trying to convince her to have sex with you, bro, is not gonna be the move.
trying to get her to change her mind about that shit is not gonna be the move. And you're just gonna run into a bunch of roadblocks and you're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna be like, why is everything like pulling teeth?
Yeah, and eventually, like, and this is the thing is, see, the thing to understand about pressure is this. Pressure is when someone is benefiting from someone else, and that person wants them to reciprocate something they don't feel like giving. That's pressure. If the person wasn't benefiting at all, there would be no pressure. They would just say no, right? Uh, and but what's the benefit, right? That's the thing to think about it. So there's something called intrinsic desire, intrinsic reward, right? And Brody scale of sexual attraction is on five different levels. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5 through 10. Five directly transactional or marriage, right? Pretty much that's what it is. You either got to be right there at marriage or already married, or you got to pretty much put money directly in her hand, which is you have to completely submit yourself to saying that you are not worthy of it, right? Uh, the 6 through 7 level is a little bit more in between. So the sixth level is more so like persistence, consistency, like you're pursuing her over a period of time, and either you have to pull away after some consistency, or you get into a relationship or right on the verge of a relationship, then now she's finally ready. So think about the movie Boomerang, right? Think about Jamie Foxx's friend. I forgot the name of the character on Boomerang. Not Boomerang, but Booty Call, right? And the woman was like, "Oh, we done went on so many dates already. I think." She like, "Girl, you need to go ahead and give him some." And she like, "No, he might get lucky." See, that's the sixth level. That's what that is, right? And you don't want, like, that's what society and movies and Hollywood push as the correct way and the respectful way to pursue a woman. But you really, she's seeing you and treating you like a bitch. If that's a woman who, I say, don't even worry about that, right? If that's consistently been how she's moved, then you know, cool. Like, let's say she a virgin or something. But I say don't put your dollar on what you think a woman's past is. So then we got the seven level, right, which is about comfort. So it's typically going to be like her social, it's going to be like giving her plausible deniability to go against her social program, right? Which is like Netflix and chill, which is you might take her out on a couple of dates, which is you might use plausible deniability of some sort, but you can't be straight out your mouth about it. Or you might have to use for love languages. Like in a long term situation, it's like using her love languages. But if that even falls below that level, then even that won't work anymore. So the eight level is a reactive sex drive. It is a direct approach. That's when you can, the boldness of your interaction with a woman, the fact that you don't fear rejection, all these different things that turn her on, and her knowing that you want to fuck her based off of her attraction level to you is something that turns her on. So that is the about the minimum, maybe 7.5, depending on how much time you like to spend with a woman. But that eight level is a reactive sex drive. It's like the minimum of what you need to really have that sharpening situation. But I would say a nine. Maybe. You could start at an eight, work your way up to a nine. But the nine is an active sex drive, right? Where just being in your presence arouses her, right? And a 10 is just thinking about you at all. She's going to try to find a way to come get it. She sees you out in the crowd, she's going to approach you and let you know what it is. She's going to be willing to be transactional about your body, to get some of your body, even if you don't want it. If you sleep, she's going to try to take it, right? And I think that really the 8 to 9 level is a great foundation, right? 10 level, you need to check your mental health because the higher that level is, the more you have to hold yourself accountable. Above 8, right? 8 is just straight up and down. But the higher up that level gets, the more you have to hold yourself accountable because there are certain things that a woman will do in that high state of arousal and attraction that if when she leaves out of that state of mind, she feels regret or she feels as if she has less than she went in with, then it can be a situation where her social program will kick back in super strong and that internal fight will be exacerbated. and it'll be a bait and switch. She could have swore up and down she want to be with you forever. All she want to do is suck your dick and smell your dirty drawers. That's all she care about, right? When she's in that lustful, highly emotional, aroused state of mind. But women get their own version of post-nut clarity. If when she leaves out of this state of mind, she feels some type of way about herself or about you, then you got to be prepared to have emotional discipline in that moment.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've definitely been in that position where what I'm saying, I done got it to like an 8 and a 9, but that social programming, that is a bitch. Listen, that shit's heavy, bro. Because that guilt and shame thing is a big problem, bro. With sexual liberation, bro. The way the energy is supposed to be distributed between men and women, right? In this open faceted way, not a closed faceted way. And so you realize, like, as a man, right? You want your woman to be receptive to you in an open faceted way, right? Where sex doesn't have a negative connotation behind it. I think all of us guys want to be able to have sex with our women without it having to be an internal battle for her about her confidence and who she is as a woman. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is, you know what I'm saying, as you get to that you have to be aware, bro. You have to be aware of her emotions and what's going on, bro. Because if you goof up and you don't know what you're doing and stuff like that, when that social programming kick back in, you're gonna get, you know what I'm saying, she's gonna withhold hold the pussy from you. She's gonna do a lot of things just from the fact that she feels self-conscious about the, you know what I'm saying. So it goes back into what we was talking about with pressure. You can't pressure her, um you can't pressure her, right, and then put her in an emotional state, giving her the energy, right, and then after that, right, you're not accountable to the emotional state she's in after the fact, because that's just gonna, you know what I'm saying, that's gonna trigger her even more. It's gonna cause even more problems, man.
You know what? A real thing about that, excuse me, a real thing about that is like that fine line between aftercare and inadvertent behavior. And this is where it becomes a thing, right? Because there's something called sub drop, and it's also just like because I'm a pleasure dom, so I know about sub drop. 'Cause I done fucked women before, and they have all these orgasms all over the place where they fealty to a nigga and tell me how much they enjoyed themselves. But I just don't feel like God is happy with this. The thing
Uh,
is,
you know what I'm saying, or or they'll be like, you know what, I just think that we should be celibate. I want to be celibate, you know. You know what I'm saying? When she's socially programmed to guilt and shame her sexual nature, she will go back most times, especially in Christian religions. They will go back to the rhetoric of I'm a bad person because I'm doing this.
and guess what? This is it becomes the thing that's interesting, right? With the gentleman gigolo complex. Sometimes, like, if you really care for a woman, and this might sound fucked up, but sometimes you're like, you know what? If you're gonna do it anyways, you might as well do it with me. But if she still has negative views and connotations on sexuality itself, she will be fucking whether or not it's with you or not. She's still gonna be fucking, right? But whoever it is that she's fucking, she has to vilify when she leaves out of the pleasure state of mind. So that means that the man who's willing to wait and be around and validate her and spend all that time and energy on her, or a man who's turning her down for sex, that can work too. She can respect that. I'll say that. She can respect a man who's turning her down for a while, right? But even then, eventually, she gonna want it too. It's gonna make her feel insecure because her desire for your validation is gonna get up too high to where she's gonna try to find a way to sabotage you, making her wait when she's the one who says that that's something she wants to do. And But what can happen is if you allow yourself to be the bad guy and say, okay, cool. If you need something from somewhere, you can get it from me. Then when she wants to grow and elevate, it's kind of like she's in a state of sometimes she's in a state of pouring out energy. That's the releasing off the frustration and the sexual energy that was pent up in that cycle of sin and guilt. And then just when you push into let your shadow come out and play. But whoever it is that's in your you play with when you're in your shadow, you're going to correlate that to something demonic. You're going to say that this is the devil, this is something bad, this is one of the distractions that the enemy sends to distract you from God and from God's will and from the things of God, quote unquote, right? And the whole time it might be somebody who might legitimately love her and pray for her, care for her. It's just a matter of if they don't go same journey of sin, guilt, and we feel like, I'm this doesn't go against my beliefs. In that particular type of situation, then the woman definitely has to see you as the issue. It's like as long as you're both on that cycle of, okay, this is wrong right now, which is when she's in her state of receiving validation and energy to fill her cup up, and then forgetting and putting all of that shit to the side after your lust has been built up enough to act on the what they think is sin for a little while, and then to be like, yeah, this is wrong, and then stop again for a while, and just keep on playing with plausible deniability and playing with fire till you just keep doing that process until you either eventually get close enough to marriage and then cut off sex for a short period of time, or eventually she's like, oh, I can't keep going back and forth with this and half stepping for God or for Jesus. And then she cut you off or shit like that, or you gotta leave and you just the price getting too high. Like that's how those things can work.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Shoot, you'll know. See, here's the thing about being direct. You're gonna know exactly how she feel about you if you be direct. You're gonna know exactly how you feel, and a lot of dudes fear that. But as long as you're direct, man, honestly, you're gonna save yourself time. You're gonna save yourself headache, and guess what? You're gonna realize that the women actually respect you.
Because you know what the thing is this right here, right? This is a big part of it. As a man, you gotta be consistent between your spiritual beliefs and your sexual actions, right? And also with being direct, does that directness go in line with your program? Or do you have a without a whore complex? Right? Like if you're direct with a woman, but because she's receptive to it, you're going to punish her by saying she's just a hoe. But if you're really serious about a woman or you really like a woman, now without even having fucked her, without even having her done anything to show she's worthy of your time, the fact that she's not receptive to fucking you, you want to reward her bad behavior, right? By trying to chase after her. You are playing the game on yourself. How about you find out what it takes for you to be a seductive individual, to get your mouthpiece right, to get your presentation right, so that there's a large amount of women who would be receptive to you being direct with them about your sexual intentions. Learn how to deal with those women in a way to where you can turn them up, raise them up to a sexual level that you like. You know how to transition in your dating to add value to them and for them to add value to you, but to do it in a way to where they earn the validation that they're getting from you. They earn the investment that you're making in their lives, and that the process that they go through to earning is one that they enjoy. It's very simple. You set standards. When those standards are met, you follow through on what you say you're going to do. And you make sure that you're a good person. You treat the woman relatively well. And just be real about your shit.
Yeah,
And
man.
the make it through that process is a woman who's worthy of marrying.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of dudes think that they think that what you're talking about. They think that the right way to go about it just to be a dickhead, but it's like more to it than just that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like being a dickhead is an improvement from being uh, a nigga who don't know shit. Like it's an improvement from being a dude who has no type of game or being a dude who has no type of skills when it comes to talk to and dealing with women. Like it's an improvement, right? Like it's not perfect, but it's an improvement. And there's steps to get to beyond that. It really is. It's just like how do I put it? It's just like when Alan Roger Curry talked about like what mode for. I know he probably don't like people talking about his shit, so I'm gonna leave that alone. But you know, mode for is just antagonizing a woman. That's very direct, but it's with an undertone of bitterness. But I'm gonna give it a buck. Sometimes you gotta tap into that, let that hurt go day, right? And that's a powerful thing, right? Uh, when you're when you've been a guy who wasn't having your way with women, sometimes you gotta take all of that neediness, right? All of that seeking to please, right? And mix it with the bitterness, mix it with the resentment, mix it with the pain, right? And turn that shit sadistic, but not sadistic for pain, but sadistic for pleasure. And find you a target, right? Who's going to consent to what you're going to do, who's feeling you, and release that aggressive, sexually dominant energy into this woman and turn her the fuck out. Release the beast. And you don't want to stay in that mode forever, but you have to show yourself that you have the capacity to walk in that dominance, to know that there's women out there who actually enjoy it, they appreciate it, and that's really the main thing that they want from you. And when you recognize that, it takes away a lot of your fear that what it is that you really think that you want as a man is something that's unrealistic for you, right? Like if you think, oh, only a hoe would do those things for me, right? Or you're like, and that's that Madonna whore complex shit. Or you'll be like, I don't think no woman really wants to do this for me. Though she really wants to do this for me the way I want it to be done. Once you experience that there are several women and women of your level of social class that you would like, women of your level of attractiveness that you would like, women who uh, have good mental capacities but like once you experience these different things, these different levels of it, then you know it's realistic. And it's a lot more easy to stand firm on what you say you want. But when it's only something that's an idea in your head, then the desire to compromise pops up a lot quicker, a lot easier, and a lot more often. Anytime a woman threatens to walk away, who gives you the best treatment that you've had so far.
Yeah, and at those moments, you just gotta you gotta chalk it up to the game, man. You can't just go and want to chase and pursue it. You just gotta, you know what I'm saying?
And you know what? I put my hand on that hot stove a couple of times. I ain't gonna lie to you. Really a few times. You give it a bet. I'd have put my hand on that hot stove. And you know what I
Burn my
found out?
motherfucking hands.
Okay,
Okay.
when you put your hand on that hot stove of a woman beginning to be distant or beginning to pull away or beginning to be uh to bring up some bullshit out the blue to just say she's not trying to fuck with you anymore. And then you try to communicate. Now you want to communicate. Now you want to pursue the situation. Now you want to do this. Now you're putting energy into it. Now you're arguing with the woman, right? And now you're trying to explain yourself. She loses respect for you. You got to reward good behavior as it comes. And you got to set your standards of smaller levels that you can reciprocate and show that you appreciate the effort that a woman's putting in, right? Because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're just taking, and you wait until a woman's in a position where she's had enough to then want to reciprocate after she starts behaving badly. Because now you're encouraging the behavior that happened right before you started giving her the attention.
Right. And I burned my hand to a crisp on that stove. Listen here, my shit look like a kettlebell. That shit so black.
Couple
Okay.
damn West Snipes on that shit.
New Jack City. You feel me?
Yeah, bro. Got them fingertips like on Men in Black. Ain't got no finger, no ID on the prints, none of that shit gone.
Yeah. To add on what you saying, bro, bros, y'all can't let shit slide. That's what he's saying, bro. You can't let that shit slide. Listen, I
Don't
know
let
you're a nice
slide.
dude, a gentleman,
Can't
or
slide.
whoever you was raised to be, but listen to me. Standards are standards. Your respect is your respect. If you see some shit you dislike, you speak on that shit and you stand on that shit and you be willing to walk the fuck away if that shit ain't for you.
And I'm gonna say this right here too. If you see some shit that you do like, don't only be a nigga who calls out bad shit. I'd say this. I'd be more inclined to say if I see some shit I don't like if I'm talking texting a woman, if she say some goofy shit, like some real goofy shit, chances are I'm just not gonna respond, right? And I'm just keeping it up. And if she like me enough, typically she gonna double text me, right? And she may ask me like, "Did I say something wrong?" Right? I've had women do that, right? Or it might be a situation where if they know they said that are positive, they'll just fix it on their own, right? The more she expects you to do before she corrects her behavior, the less she respects you.
Exactly. That's the golden rule. The golden rule is you do not do nothing, with girls, anybody. You don't do nothing with nobody, you know what I'm saying, unless they're investing in you too. It's like, what I'm saying? It's the principle of, consequence versus reward. Why are you going to reward somebody for treating you bad? Why are you going to reward somebody when they haven't proven themselves to be worthy of you? A lot of times the answer to that question is low self-worth, low self-esteem. And so you're going to tolerate it and let it slide. And guess what? You're going to lose respect in the process. And now you don't get what you want.
And you gotta know how to pace it out. You gotta know how to pace things out, right? Like
Take your time, man.
you can't be meeting a woman this week and fucking her 4 times a week and thinking that you're gonna keep fucking her for the next few years. It's not gonna work like that. I'm being honest with you. You might do it once a week, once every 2 weeks, twice a week at the most, until you built up more of a connection where you actually want to spend non-sexual time with this woman.
Exactly. And
Let
yeah,
it burn out real fast. It's churn and burn. Like a lot of major retail corporations, it's churn and burn. Get the people in there, hire them real quick, give them a position, uh, have them working crazy hours and cut the hours. You burn them out, then you have a constant rotation of new people, and your turnover rate is crazy. And a lot of businesses right now are trying to focus on getting their turnover rate down. So some places aren't even allowed to fire people anymore, right? Even if people ain't performing well. And you got to understand that you might put yourself in the same position trying to play that churn and burn game with the toxic abundance too much. You got to think about how you're dealing with women in a way to where you can get first you got to get to the point where you can attract quality women. You just got to get that point. But after you know that you're attracting quality women, if women who are quality, who have the capacity on your program, who are on your program, and everybody's still just running away from you like crazy, you even if you got your program, say this is what I am, this is what I'm about, you still sometimes got to go back to the drawing board. Like, am I communicating effectively? Am I transitioning well? Am I pacing things correctly? Am I reciprocating? Right? You hold yourself accountable to your own program. If you hold yourself accountable, a woman doesn't have to hold you accountable. Like niggas complaining about getting nagged at. If a woman has to tell you something 1,000 times and you still don't listen, yes, she gonna nag at you because that's better than her just leaving. See, a feminine, submissive woman is probably gonna be more likely to either embrace your bullshit, which means it could be uh, two blind people going down a ditch, right? Or she will just simply lose respect for you and walk the fuck away because she has standards that she can't be with a man she doesn't respect. It's just the insecure woman who may be more so masculine, submissive, who gives you credit for being too rough around the edges for her because it makes her feel secure about herself because she feels like she's the logical masculine one.
Right. And you know what I'm saying? I definitely be in relationships where, you know what I'm saying? I was going through stuff, you know what I'm saying? But you have to, you can't make excuses, bro. You have to understand if she feel that's, if she's even in that position, bro, you should be working on yourself as a man. And I'm going to say that because, like, here's the thing, bro. You, as a man, every man gets a different side of a woman. And the type of man you are will determine, right, what side of the woman you get. And the reason why a lot of guys get the side of the woman that's sexual and a lot of dudes don't is the directness, is the boldness, is the confidence. Overall, is the confidence. But where did confidence come from? Confidence comes from accomplishment, man. It comes from seeing results in your life. If you don't see results in your life, you're not going to feel confident as a man. Why do you think that when we're broke or when we don't have any money or when we're down bad, we feel so terrible as men? Is because there is this pressure and there is this innate desire in men to succeed, you know, to want to have things, to want to have a beautiful wife, to want to have status. You know what I'm saying? Men do a lot of things. We do a lot of things as men for respect. You know what I'm saying? Everything for men comes down to respect. That's why it hurts you so bad when you're in a relationship that you don't feel respected. Because as a man, his respect is everything. And back in the day when you was an OG or you was a an old dude in the hood, a lot of these dudes had respect because their ability to control situations, their ability to communicate with people in their community was at such a high level and stuff like that. People around them just simply could respect them. You know you're a man, right? When you hold your word, and that's the true essence of a man is his word, his character.
And
Some
you know what?
you have to realize that as men.
You know what? And respect is really the difference between abuse and consequences.
True shit. Because
Um,
when you get respect, you get protection. It's like putting a cloak over you. You get an armor of protection when you're respected because people don't want to fuck with you because they know the ratio of your rules. They know the measurement of your character. They know what they can get away with and what they can't. And when you're a man that's so solid, they know that it comes with consequences of fucking you over. And that's where the armor comes in. That's where the respect comes in with women, with men, with everything. Respect is the key. With no respect, there is no honor. With no honor, there's no confidence.
right? And it's like, and there's a difference between discipline and abuse, right? Because, like, like you said, it's the OGs, like from back in the day, man. Like I heard stories from my father, like the old band directors. They'll hear something about you, they'll walk up to you, punch you in the chest, and you wouldn't do shit about it. But that's because the role that they played in these young men's lives were ones to where they had earned the respect, right, through the solidity and who they were, how there was no nonsense, how they added value, how they were there, how they taught things, how they taught things not only about whatever they were doing, but life, to where they had the respect to be able to take those consequences into their hands. But they wasn't doing that shit just to let off steam. It was for a real purpose, right? And that's one thing about a feminine dominant as well. You can't be so butthurt and so traumatized that you want to punish a woman over every single little thing. You know what I mean? You have to understand when sometimes you got to be understanding of what the fuck she going through. And sometimes you also got to understand what a daddy versus father effect is. Like for me, I don't use dominance with a woman as a punishment. For me, dominance is a reward for being receptive to masculinity. You know what I mean? Like when a woman's receptive to my masculine energy, to my dominant energy, like on a smaller level, then I let it escalate. And it's a progression of the escalation to where if it stays high enough on a consistent enough basis, it's just a way that I conduct myself with it. That some people may look at and say, damn, Lamar, you a savage, or that's abusive, or you ain't shit, or you're toxic. And I'm like, this woman consents to it. She's happy to be there. Yeah, my hands around her throat. She got a smile on her face, you know? And
You got the Chuck E. Cheese smile going on.
yeah, she cheesing from ear to ear with my hand around her throat. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm
Oh
gonna
no,
take I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be at
you
this
love that
party.
choking shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, not even during sex, just like sitting in the car, and I just put my hand around her throat, she'll start smiling because she already know what it is. Or I might check a woman, and it might sound like, damn, you just called her a bitch. That's so disrespectful, but her pussy wet, right? It's like,
And like that girl jumping on the damn bed, ready to get that shit on. She just leaned back in the bed. You know what I'm saying? She, like a recliner in that bitch.
yeah,
She just pulled the lever back and just dropped on the bed. She's just like, I want dick.
like yeah, I might be at the kickback and walk around to the other room and get my dick sucked on the patio. Like that's me. That's what type of nigga I am. I can't pretend
Facts.
that's not who I am. You know what I mean? But at
I'm
the
Ric
end of the
Flair boy. This bitch.
rich go woo.
Woo!
But, but that's
Nigga, I'm in
how
trouble with this shit. I'm Rambo, boy.
right.
20
Like
years.
like for me, I'm the type of nigga where I will take a woman behind a dumpster and face fuck her until she throw up a little bit and have her spit it out and finish it up and then we go about our business. That's just me. Like I'm a degrader. I'm a pleasure dog. I'm an exhibitionist. I'm a nasty nigga. I know that with how I am, there's certain things that I need in order for me to feel comfortable being myself around a woman, right?
Hmm.
And I don't mean that as in I don't feel comfortable being myself around a woman unless she does this, this, and that. What I mean is there are certain ways that I naturally behave myself. And I like to be around a woman who is receptive to that. That's all that it means. And I know that to have certain outcomes, you have to make yourself attractive for the outcomes that you desire. You have to. If you don't make yourself attractive for the outcomes you desire, then you're delusional. It doesn't have to be transactional, it can be intrinsic. It's just like if you know how to get in a woman's head about the process of validation and respect and instructions and consequences and rewards and those different type of things, you can get a woman addicted to sucking your dick just through the rhythm and the pace in which you give instructions, the way you talk to her, the tone of your voice, the eye contact that you give her that makes her feel like, damn, why am I giving him pleasure, but I'm the one who feels like I'm shying away from how he's looking at me when I'm giving him head. To where when she listens to the instructions, you moan for, you might grunt for, your body might shake a little bit, and then next thing you know, she's working on the dick for a while, and then when you finally nut, it's like she had to work for it and she had to follow instructions to get it. Hold up, your nut was her validation. See, niggas don't think that deep about it, but a woman can really get addicted to the validation of you having an orgasm if she's sucking your dick. But that's a respect thing. And if she starts to lose respect, that'll go away. You want to keep things up on a high level of how you stretch a woman because that high level is what lets you know when things are off. If you're always, and I'm about to land the plane too, I realize I used some time to talk to my bad guy, my guy. But let's say that you talk very gentleman like all the time. You may not be able to peep when her energy isn't the same. Let's say you only have sex one way, uh, and it only takes 5 minutes, you know what I mean, or 10, 15 minutes, and you get it over with, it's the same position every time. You follow the same exact routine schedule every day. She can set a clock to your shit, right? And you don't do anything or say anything that stretches a woman of her social programming, right? Then you may not be able to tell the moment that her energy gets off because she can easily pretend from a transactional state of mind to continue to do things that you want to do. But when you're stretching a woman in her social programming, she can't fake that shit for so long. Like,
Exactly, because you put the pressure on her to reveal herself.
yeah, like if you call a woman bitch, right? If she's in that non-level of sexual attraction, she feeling you, that shit is gonna get her so turned on. But the moment she drops to about a 7 level, that's straight disrespect. They could be the same woman, but she like, oh, why you so you're so disrespectful? That's hurtful. Why you talk to me like that? When she just whatever, I'll tell you how much she loves it when you do that. It's just like you get to observe if the energy's going down and correct what you can correct, and go ahead and prepare yourself to get out of there.
For real, for real. Hey, look, if you ever get pressed on that shit, don't you fold. Don't say shit. Don't apologize. Those if she be like on some shit and she be like, why did you call me bitch? Don't be apologizing. Say, you heard what I said.
You know what I like to do? Well, I don't know if you know this, but I like to me, I just let her know from the beginning that it's a regular part of my conversation, right? And
Right.
I don't ask to say it. I just use it in the first conversation. And then I might say it in a joking way, but then also I'm gonna anchor it in. Like I'll say it when she's having an orgasm. Like let's say I'm having sex with her, right? Then before I like it's orgasm control, before I let her come, I'll be like, while she getting close and she about to come on the dick, I'll be like, say you my nasty bitch, right? Just like do some shit like that, and have her say it to me.
I'm trying to tell you, that increases the desire like a motherfucker.
Called
Hey,
anchoring there. Then see, this is the difference between also abuse and triggering desire, right? Triggering trauma versus triggering desire. When that is correlated to an orgasm versus being correlated to verbal abuse, then even if you say it during an argument, right? If her desire level, her respect level is high enough, and she's just getting a little bratty at the moment, it's going to trigger the remembrance of being dominated and then bring up thoughts of desire, which will bring her right back into her feminine submissive energy. But see, a lot of niggas don't understand that. That's why some of these things ain't for every dude to try, because you gonna miss a lot of the ground steps, and then you gonna think you doing what I'm doing, and you really just traumatizing the woman.
right. Because the thing is, you know what I'm saying, you have to carry us. She has to carry a certain level of attraction to take that situation positively. If her attraction is lower than that level and you try to do the same thing, it translates into trauma because the respect isn't there, so the desire isn't going to be there either. So it's going to kick back in her social programming, and then it's basically going to be all for naught. You're going to destroy your progress.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been there before too. I've been there before, like on some real stuff, because like you gotta understand that just because a woman loves you doesn't always mean that she respects you, right? She may respect you as a person. She may even respect you as a man, but she may not respect you as a leader. And some women are going to be more so like lightning in the bottle, right? To where they might be love bombing, or they might just be this survival mode submissive to where just anything goes. It might be low self esteem. And there's some women who just feeling you on a high level, but you're not on the level after they get to know you, to where they would want to take that situation as seriously. So sometimes you might have a woman who's just down for you. She just down. But a woman, just because she loves you, doesn't mean she respects you as a leader. You got to understand that. And that respect as a leader, or that high level of sexual attraction, are the things that allow a woman to surpass her social programming and receive program. Those are the things. It's attracting and desire and respect. Like I said, there's no substitute for good dick and guidance. And your dick can be great, but if that woman has super strong social programming, or she just really doesn't trust you due to like religious reasons, or or mentality reasons, or something like that, then a woman can actually love you and still separate sex from emotions.
Yeah.
And not even the great dick that she's experiencing cause her to feel more deeply about you on an emotional level. She could be crying during sex and everything, just crygasms, multiple squirting all over the place, and still just not trust you in her heart. And if that, and the fucked up part about it is this: If that were a fling or a short-term situation and she wasn't used to it, she wouldn't have to do that because the context of something long term in her mind isn't there. So she can kind of just give herself over into that moment, burn out on the pleasure, have a great time, let things stay light, and then, you know, say that dude's a fuck boy in her head, a few days later, and then just, fuck somebody else, get over that last guy, and move on.
And then that's real, bro. That's fucking real, bro. It don't get more real than that, bro.
But if she already got history with you, then there's going to have to be a certain level of respect that you're going to have to show through your emotional discipline and probably emotional bulletproofness, right? Before she can really step into that place with you in a way where it really affects anything.
Right, right, for sure. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I wanted to add on to what you said earlier by sharing the experience I had with a woman when we was talking about respect, right? How they can respect you as a man, they can respect you as a person, but respect you as a leader. I give you an example how I gained some respect as a leader, right? So what I'm saying, I had a homegirl that was my friend, right? And she got in some trouble legally, right? So, she hit me up on the phone and stuff like that. She inquired about the information. She was like, she was talking to me about the information, right? But she did not know what I knew about the information. So check this out. This is how you can gain respect. Through your knowledge, you can prove that you're a leader. You don't have to prove it, right? When you have the knowledge, right, and you're able to give it in such a way, and it presents itself value in a woman's life, this is when she can begin to respect you as a leader. Um, for example, right, I told the girl some legal advice, right, of how to get out of a court case, right. She went to the investigators, right, probably like 2 3 days later, right, about what I said, right? And they told her the same thing. Now, this is somebody that's been working on this for 30, 40 years. So if he's saying that what I'm saying is exactly what's going to happen and exactly what's going on and exactly her way out, right? And she comes back to me, and now somebody has validated, right, the knowledge that I gave to her, right? How can she not respect me as a leader?
And that's, you know what, that's a real thing too. It's like that knowledge. Another thing is like being decisive. Like, hey, listen, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, hey, listen, I'm not perfect. I never act like I'm perfect, man. I know one thing
Yeah,
about me.
shit,
I'm,
mistakes and
I'm
all.
like when I'm hungry, man, I get indecisive when I'm hungry, man. They say it's just women who do that. Like, nah, bro. When I'm hungry, I got to know what I want to eat like, before I get hungry. Because if I wait till I'm hungry to try to figure out what I want to eat, man, I'm gonna be confused as shit.
Shoot, for me, I just shit my ass be my ass be going to one place and then I'll be like, damn, I really don't want this shit. I get indecisive to go to another place. Be like, ah, shit, I should have went to the other place.
But sometimes what helps is having a backup plan, and also, like, let's say you're going out on a date, go places that you've already been before, and if it's somewhere you've never been before, look at the menu and pick out your food ahead of time. You know, it's just little things sometimes like that feel more leader like. You know what I mean? Because those are different things. But also, we also got to get this too. Uh, Sometimes a woman still has to be the the hero of her own story. You can't fix everything for a woman, and if you do, like, you can't make a woman happy. It's impossible. She has to
Impo-
have happiness in herself.
yeah, I think that's where a lot of us men mess up. We try to make girls happy instead of realizing that life is a self journey and we are responsible for making ourselves happy. People are in addition to the happiness we already hold in our own lives. So you have to separate that. You know what I'm saying?
You have to sacrifice. You have to separate her happiness from your happiness, and you need to constantly be pursuing your own happiness, right? But also, help her with hers too. You know what I'm saying? Like on her vision or her journey, not help her with happiness and emotional turmoil. These are things that we all have to face alone and build within ourselves. And I think that's where we get misguided as men, right? You try to when you feel like you don't have control or whatever, you try to overcompensate by giving extra attention, extra affection, extra, you know what I'm saying? And that's not what helps, you know what I'm saying? That there's the polarity of balance. So, you know what I'm saying? There are times where you're going to have to, you know what I'm saying? Just switch. You have to.
No, that is true right there, man. Because it's one of them things where, and I got a video about it. It's like an insecure woman can't truly be submissive. You know what I mean? It's like it because there's a certain amount of stretching that goes on. Excuse, we up here late, but there's a certain amount of stretching that goes on. You know what I mean? And listen, bro, like we out here grinding, bro. It's like I was working. I got off work probably like midnight tonight. We still up here working. I got concert to go to in the tomorrow. Got shit to do. I got coaching session. I don't think I got a coaching session today. I think it's gonna be like the next
Right.
day. But
Yeah, man.
niggas, bro, we out here trying to get it, and that's that that dedication to what we're doing that's gonna push us forward because you know it is what it is, man. Like if I could do this earlier, I could have did it earlier. But I had to work. I had to make some money, and I had to record a video that's gonna be a classic, like this outsourcing game video. That's gonna be one of my classics. Like I already know it is. I'm probably gonna have to put this shit on Patreon one day and take it off my YouTube.
Right, man. Like people don't get it. You gotta grind, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm up here. Listen, I'm reading almost 1 to 2 books a day. I'm doing 4 miles. You know what I'm saying? I'm working out. Then I'm also doing graphic design. I'm outsourcing to other people while I'm still being at house. You know what I'm saying? I have a nephew, you know what I'm saying? I gotta take care. I gotta make sure he good, you know what I'm saying? I gotta make sure he eat. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm still, connecting with people and helping people through content while I'm doing my own content, while I'm setting other things up. So it's like you gotta, you know what I'm saying, keep doing your shit. You know what I'm saying? And find something that you happy with and like that makes you happy or that, you know what I'm saying, gives you that sense of peace, of joy, bro. And go after it, but be realistic in the sense of you still need income, you still need a job, you still need to operate a regular life and have a way to maintain yourself, right? While you're trying to achieve your goals, man.
And you know what? A real thing is about that, my guy. A real thing about it is this: when it comes to the abundance mindsets, uh, most adults are not going to be in an abundance mindset,
At
or
all.
at least aren't going to be, excuse me, or at least aren't going to be able to live from one. You get what I'm saying? Because, like, to take a feminine submissive route, which is to be an artist, right? That's what being an artist is. It's feminine submissive. You're
Yeah.
investing in giving up control, and you're malleable to how you're giving up control and letting the feeling of losing control to your passion push you forward, right? To your that enjoyment, that experience. It's feminine submissive. It's best to be raised with the foundation of building the hard skills for what it's going to take to be successful in that, to build some of the networking, to build some of the foundation for what it takes to do that before you reach an age where you have to financially provide for yourself. If you haven't, then guess what? You're gonna have to either be a feminine dominant or a masculine submissive, which means you got to take your black ass to work and hopefully you also put some time into going to school and getting a trade or whatever it is so that you can make enough money to provide for yourself and pay for things you need to take care of and have energy to do it. Or you have to be a masculine submissive, do that, or you're gonna be taking some shortcuts and not work regular hours, but you're gonna be scamming, You're gonna be selling drugs, you're gonna be selling dick, selling pussy, doing things that are illegal, doing things that are inconsistent, doing things that can come back to bite you in your ass because you need to make some money. And that's just how the breaks go. You can be a masculine dominant, but it takes time. It takes time, to put yourself in a position. Like you can't be a business owner without capital, right?
Facts.
So how you gonna get that capital? Masculine, submissive, and feminine dominant. And the thing to understand about this, and I think this is a great point I need to bring up, and this is I try to make this video a few times to talk about this particular point, but this ties into the gentleman gigolo complex. So I gotta bring this point out. Uh, if you have to take a feminine, you don't have to do shit. But if you choose to take a feminine dominant approach, like let's say you met a woman young, right? And you were masculine submissive or survival mode submissive when you met her, right? Because you didn't want to be aggressive about sex. You felt like that was creepy or predatory. That's what you thought. It's probably gonna come a time where you're gonna have to flip it. And when you flip it, it's probably gonna be feminine dominant. And you're gonna get better results for a period of time. But she's going to trust you less. She's gonna feel less safe with you, although she's going to treat you better. Understand? You have to know how to launder the power that you received during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? That social programming is the IRS. That social programming is the feds. That's her feminine nature. That's that masculine energy that's in her. That's the internal is right on. And if during that time where you tap into the feminine dominant to experience being dominant, if you're lying to a woman, if you're cheating on her, if you're abusing her, if you're doing a bunch of shit that's very manipulative, and some of this shit is going to be manipulative, but just understand what lines you're not willing to cross within that manipulation and make sure you don't set that bar too high. And you have to be able to integrate that into what your program is in a way that shows these things in a positive light and also in a way that takes accountability for what you did wrong, but then also in a way that maintains the consistency of the treatment that you want to receive from a platform of things that you can actually reciprocate and and that you're willing to. And if you're unable to do that, you're fucked up. Because guess what? What do we see most drug dealers do, like from the 80s and the 90s? The niggas open up barbershops, right? They open up some barbershops, they open up car washes, places where they can get some money into their hand real quick. Things weren't 100% accounted for so that they could funnel the money that they were getting through, that they already had or that they were still getting, so that they could have that money on record with the IRS in a way where they could then begin to put that money into real businesses where it can become assets. You can't go to the bank, right? And I mean, you can't go to the car lot with cash in this day and age and get a brand new car lot with cash. You gotta have a credit line. You can't go into a nice neighborhood, right? Nice ass neighborhood, and think that you're gonna pay for a house in cash. No, they need to know where the fuck you got this money from. And if you can't account for where you got this power and this leverage in a way that isn't illegal or outside of the bounds of acceptable, then all the power that you've gotten through manipulation will be lost if you can't launder the power that you received through activating your game. So you got to make sure that, like I said, it's in line with your spiritual beliefs, it's in line with your character, your morals, you're honest, you're not lying, you know what I mean, that you're consistent. Very important. I'm saying.
Yeah, and when you stop lying, you realize you have so much power in just being authentically truthful. You have so much power in just not putting on the facade, man. It's okay to not like something. It's okay to not want something. It's okay to walk from something that disturbs your peace. And I think that there's this idea, right, that you doing something for yourself, right, is, what I'm saying, is selfish or this, that, and the third. And the thing is, it's not selfish to care about yourself. It's not selfish to make people respect what you got going on. Because at the end of the day, people are going to do what is beneficial for them, you know? And so, how you avoid a lot of trouble is with your honesty. Your honesty will get you out of a lot of trouble that your lies will put you in.
Yeah,
And
and that's
plus, you just get more you get more respect all around, and people treat you better.
and that's some real stuff right there, right? Like you can't just be constantly in and out, breaking up with a woman every 2 weeks, and then think that that's not going to lose its power. You can't be, pulling away from a woman every time she do something you don't like and think that's not eventually going to lose its power. Eventually, you got to get to a point where that woman respects you enough for what you say to be what you say without all the extra games. I'm not saying there's never a point in time where that's not going to be something that comes into play. Because to be completely realistic, this is Blurred Podcast, right? For Black nerds, you in that position, man, you was a nice guy. It's going to be a period of time where you just want to get some wins under your belt. I'm not mad at you, nigga. You need some wins under your belt. There's going to be some women who had you in the friend zone and you run a little counter, a little bait. You catch their hand in the cookie jar and you beat their black back out, right? I get that. I'm not mad at you. You know what I mean? You ain't you got a lot to do it. You just got to run the game. But you got to understand that when you do things in that particular type of way, that is something that can backfire on you. Like anytime you manipulate someone, you are opening up to get manipulated. Like anytime you throw a punch, you are, anytime you throw a punch, you're open up to get hit back, right? So you got to understand that when you're running that type of game, it can backfire on you, and you got to be prepared for it. And you might come across women who you run that game with, and you're like, you know what? I might actually like this woman. I might actually could be with this woman. But because of how you started things, she sees you more as a challenge than as a leader. And if a woman sees you more as a challenge than as a leader, she might do what you say for a while. But when you're ready to pour that energy back into her, she gonna take that little bit of validation and run off with it. She feel like she finally figured you out. She finally got you to be vulnerable or emotional, or to give her some type of emotional reaction or intimacy. And now she feels vindicated. So she's up out of there. And that's what you gotta understand.
Right. And so, being able to be detached is so important, because detached says you haven't earned my respect. What have you done for me that gives you the right to access that part of me as a person? Feel me? A lot of times we don't detach because um y'all didn't have enough wins underneath your belt. Let's be real. And you wanted some attention. She gave you some attention. You hadn't had the attention before. And so, you know, you fall victim to that little trap. But here's the thing about it: when you're detached, right, and then you give her the validation once she's earned it, she's going to, one, appreciate it more, two, value it more, and respect you more, because you had enough respect not to open yourself up to her without, you know what I'm saying, her open herself to her basically with her earning it, instead of, you just giving it to her. Just don't give girls, just don't give things to people freely out the kindness of your heart. Do things a lot of times. If you're going to do something out of kindness of your heart, don't seek for anything in return. But don't make
Fact.
it consistent. Don't make it a consistent habit, because then it shows weakness, and it shows your need and want to be liked by everybody in the room. And so people tend to back up from people who tend to do too much for them, because they start to think, well, what does this person want from me? They must want something from me. They're not just doing this out the kindness of their heart, because people fundamentally know that people are selfish. Whether you believe it or not, we all know that we are all selfish to some degree, right? And so subconsciously, it kind of hits you like, dang, this nigga being way too nice. He trying to get me to like him, or she's trying to get me to like him. You ever realize that the more somebody tries to pursue you, whether it's a man, whether it's a female, it doesn't matter. The more turned off you get from it, a lot of the times, like if they're pursuing you, right, and you made it clear you don't want them, right, or you made it clear that you're not in that space with them, right, and they keep pursuing it, most times what you chase, the thing that you chase runs away from you. The thing that you stay detached from and steal from, right? You staying you're staying in your program and what you got to do today. That's the detachment I'm talking about. The detachment of realizing that you matter. You matter, and what you you allow other people to experience through you is a privilege. Not like, oh, let me just do this just because, oh, sure, I'll give you my attention. You have to question it. For what? Why am I doing this? What am I getting out of it? For what purpose do I want to engage in this type of interaction with this person? You know?
No, that's real stuff, man. You know, and I'm gonna say this right here too. I think that there is a difference, and a lot of men who tap into the red pill, they gotta understand that there's a difference between having emotional discipline and being emotionally unavailable and damaged,
Mm.
right? And there's a certain point beyond just having emotional discipline when you meet a woman, right? You know, there's a point beyond that to where if you lack the ability to have any type of emotional discipline or depth, right, that woman's gonna see you as a fraud, right? And eventually, if she sees that you're a fraud and then you try to like if she sees you as a fraud when that shit goes down, or let's say you don't show any emotion unless she acting, she knows that you're not really that nigga. So it's about rewarding good behavior. You set your standards and you say, okay, cool. I'm gonna reward good behavior. If a woman's doing a bunch of shit that you like, you ain't gotta go super crazy overboard, but you gotta reciprocate in some type of way. Let her know that she's appreciated. You gotta let her know that she's appreciated. You know, that is very important. You
Yeah,
know,
that's something I struggle with. I ain't gonna cap my boys. No, it's not, from that place, but you know what I'm saying? I'll say that I appreciate people, but I'm a doer, you know what I'm saying? And that's bad for a simple fact. If someone else's love language is different, like where's the affirmation, that's gonna fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? Because if you have a love language of touch and affection, and someone has a love language of affirmation and acts of service, because see me, it's acts of service, and then it's spending time. I actually have three love languages: so spending time, spending quality time, then it's what I'm saying, affection, and then no, it's what I said previously. But
I don't know, man. I feel like my love language is like got 5,000 some sandwiches and asked me to spit name out. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
uh,
that, that spoke to my soul right there. Wait, you said the God got 3,000.
I said got 5,000 uh, uh
And I
certain
be trying to go to Amsterdam damn
acts
myself.
out. And also sending me pictures with anime shit on. That's also my love language. And feet pics that too. Feet pics, feet videos. That's my part of my protocol for BDSM. If she just would have sent me this random feet pics, I'm like, shit, you know what? I like you. You know what? You know
Hey,
how to
I'm a nasty nigga. You just had to come find out. I can't explain all this shit.
it'd be like,
On some real shit. I can't even explain all that shit. You just gonna know when you in there.
hold on, I'm about to see this video real quick on Facebook. I know we still on the phone, but I'm still gonna see this video anyway. But hold up, we've been out here about 2 hours. I think we're gonna try to make this like a 2 hour podcast. let's touch some more on these Bankais real quick though. I thought Urahara's Bankai was very fitting.
Yeah,
Like
actually.
what you know what his Bankai's power is?
Um, if I am not mistaken, anything Benahime touches gets reconstructed.
Yeah, his power is yes.
Uh, like fixed regeneration.
Yeah. No, I was making a joke. I was saying, you know what his power is? Like, what's his power? Yes.
Goodbye.
Yeah,
Shit,
he breaks.
I wish I was like Urahara. I'd be up in there in the ramen shop like Naruto in that bitch.
Listen, I wonder how many niggas, if they had Urahara's Kisuke, they'll call Benahime up. And you know, let's say you fucking a bitch, and she's like deeper, and you like, damn, I'm all that addicted. You like Bankai. And then Benahime come out. Now your dick got some stitches on it, but you knocking the bottom out the pussy though. You up in there.
Damn, I know you hit the bottom this time.
Bankai.
Went straight to the bottom and hit the roof.
Get this stuff, you know what I mean? Well, actually crazy because you done tapped into them cervical orgasms. You know what?
That's
Don't
how
even do
you
that.
really move like a snake, okay?
I always remember that video. I remember when I was in high school, I saw that video of Alexis Tyler talking about how dick can make you slap somebody, and that's what she was talking about right there. And we know a woman in particular because you was there one day when she said that shit to me, and she was like, I'm surprised the bitch ain't touch you yet. I'm like, bitch, you can try it. No, I can't promise it's gonna work out too well for you.
And that highly unrecommended. 0 out of 10
Yeah,
stars.
no, but women love to talk about how dick don't mean nothing to them, but then you don't lie to them, you don't take them out, you don't do nothing but drop no dick on them, and they talking about why you fucking me like this.
Why are you doing this? Why are you talking to me like that? You so toxic.
Yeah, man, how am I toxic? I thought we both agreed we were gonna be having this sex.
Yeah, I'm toxic because you done lost your damn mind, ain't it? Hey, well, when you hit the bottom of the pussy, bitch lose her mind for 5 seconds.
Listen, when I got a woman right there, I tell her to her face, dick ain't free. You know, but well, maybe that is toxic, but it is what it is. They like it, you know.
Wait. I got the perfect thing for this right now. Hold on. I got you.
You talking about Kendrick?
Hold on. Hold on, dude. Hold on. I'm gonna hit him with the icing. I'm gonna hit him with the icing. Okay.
Hey, can you change like the brand of the banner? Like, can you put pictures on here? Oh, I can do that.
I think only you can do that.
Oh,
Cause I,
you about to send it on Facebook?
huh?
What you about to do?
Oh man, sure. I finally found a quote. I was gonna say to that shit you had said earlier. I said admiration is the furthest thing from understanding.
Was that Eisen?
Yes.
So,
Nah. The real way you should have said was this: a victor must speak not of the current state of the world, but how it should rightfully be. And you know what that
well,
reminds me of when you attacking the pussy like a Tasmanian devil and shit, and she had just gave you the got 3 million, and now you just sitting there stuck. But you get up anyway because you get
hey, when she done gave you the Super Throat Prime,
the true throat goat.
the Super Throat Prime, been sitting in the
Throat
sun.
him is prime.
Yeah. It's been sitting in the sun a million years, like Superman. It's that Super Throat Prime.
The throat
You know,
of an
hey, all the real shit, man. I be thinking about like Eisen and stuff. You know what was so fucking funny, bro? With Eisen and Shinji, you know what I mean? where Eisen was like, "Who told you I didn't already have Kyoka Sugetsu activated?" Oh man, he was hurting niggas' feelings. And then didn't he have the niggas jump Momo again?
You said what?
Like, did this nigga have them jump Momo again?
Yo, the way that nigga put that girl on the wall, boy, he painted that Picasso for real. That blood said split. The girl,
Right. Yo, when they had the fake Katakuta Town arc, did Eisen have them attack Momo again?
boy, he was on her ass. Okay,
Like, what did this bitch do to you?
like I really don't know. He just Eisen just woke up one day and said, "You know what? I'm gonna pick a random bitch and I'm gonna kill that hoe in front of the Soul Society."
He had all the options. This nigga had to choose. Violence was the one he chose.
But shout out to my nigga Eisen. He a man of his word.
Hey, you know what? This nigga Eisen, that shit was funny. I think part of it, he just like to fuck with Toshiro. I think that's part of what it is. He like
Bro,
to
that
fuck.
shit was so fucking funny, bro. I really do think it was the Toshiro shit. He was using that to get the Toshiro hard, bro. Cause let me tell you something, boy. That nigga came back on the scene with that damn Bankai. He said, "I got the dragon. Aizen." That nigga was screaming every 3 episodes.
That nigga stay screaming. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. All the little girls, they like Toshiro. I wasn't too crazy about Toshiro like that. But I heard adult Toshiro goes far though. Like the adult Toshiro, the Thousand Year Blood War arc. I heard it goes super hard. I watched a video on that earlier.
Hey, check this out. If they make Toshiro in the new Thousand Year Blood War arc, if they give him the long hair, Toshiro gonna be on some shit, bro. If they give him the long hair and then they upgrade his Bankai from the Ice Dragon to like a Ice Hydra, oh my god.
You know, hey, the shit hard. I'm ready to see. It's a few things I'm ready to really see in the in the anime. Like I really want to see Shunsui's Bankai in the anime. I want to. Oh, the number one thing I want to see in the anime is probably got to be like Kenpachi's Bankai because this nigga ain't even got a Shikai yet in Lord knows how many episodes, and I got to see him fight with Unohana so that he can be
Wait, you didn't see
right.
the man?
No, I want to see it animated, bro.
Oh boy, you are in for a fucking treat
I'll
about
say
Kim.
this. I've listened to it. You know what I mean? Like I've listened to people break it down and saw a couple of pictures. And I like listen to the narratives because I'm more of an audio learner than a visual learner. Like, when it comes to like manga and stuff. So I kind of just I wait for the anime, but I'll listen to spoilers of the manga.
Oh yeah, I used to do that all the time, especially like when Naruto was on and stuff like that. I would listen to those audio clips where it like reads the manga strips from cover to cover. Is that what you're talking about?
Uh, More so like narrative breakdowns. Because there's certain people I like when do like I like Mr. Tomo. I like Simo Udahara. Like when I'm talking about like, Bleach content, I like Bleach Hub. Uh, who else do I like with Bleach content? Those are some of the main ones. There's some other ones too. If I were to find the names of some of them, I could probably just look on my YouTube see if I can find them. But Mr. Tomo is definitely one of them. Tech King is probably another one. Yeah, Tech King is probably another one that I like. Let me see what I can find as far as Bleach content creators that I like. I think Too Spooky. No, Too Spooky. That's a different one. Let me look at this shit. Uh, I got more people I'm subscribed to. It's hard to tell because some of these channels are mostly just like uh, compilation channels. Yeah, Mr. Tomo is one of my favorites. Simo Udahara is one of my favorites. When it comes to like Bleach content, I think like Seth the Programmer probably touched on it a little bit, but Seth the Programmer, Clyde, Six, like these niggas are some good ass calc stackers. That's like what let me know like this whole power scaling thing may not be for me because like that level of math ain't not that. I got time to be crunching numbers.
I feel you. Shit, mad
Oh yeah,
respect.
yeah. DBZ Imran, that's another one. I like DBZ Imran. As far as Bleach content, is Diavolo. Don't they make Bleach content? They might be wrong. I'm just going through a bunch of my subscribers to see people I like right now.
Yeah, you know what series I like? That Black Air Force Energy of anime series.
Oh yeah. That's what CJ the Champ, right?
Yep, I love that shit. That shit was pretty
CJ the
fun.
Champ is an inspiration, bro. Like I've been sitting there looking at content for a couple years. Like, man, how am I gonna get this my own like niche, like my own lane for making anime content? And it's been kind of difficult because the moment you get an idea, you see someone else do it. It's like I saw Bo Lowry do his thing. You know what, man? This nigga on bumpers, right? I'm like, shit, this is great vernacular. And then I'm watching CJ the Champ. I'm like, damn, this nigga may even be better than Mo Lowry. I don't know. He's not as funny, but his videos probably got a little better information. Well, no. They probably equal. But the graphics for CJ the Champ with the do rags and the and the flags and the face tattoo putting on the characters with the fire in the background and just
Yeah, he
the
work.
roast doing. It's just like, man, this is great when you mix the ebonics with the lore and the jokes, and it's just like, man, with the roast sessions when you roasting a character, I'm like, man, I love these niggas. You got Sensei as well. You got Daquan Whiteshire, and of course you got Rome Beach Griffey. You got these different guys who like anime and stuff, and they be making funny jokes about it. And I like a lot of those content creators. I'm trying to figure out how to get my own content up like that. And then I got to touch on Berserk too, right? Berserk content creators. So I love Real Life Ryan, The Masked Man, uh, Tranquil Dionysian. I think that's what it is. Anime Philosopher. Uh, There's some more. There's some more I like when it comes to dessert content, but really, real life Ryan and the Masked Man are like the two main ones. But we can't forget about Super Eye Patch Wolf as far as just overall anime content,
Yeah,
because they or Bonsai Pop and Super Eye Patch Wolf are like two of the go to the shit.
sure, true. And you see how you named all those people. See, in my opinion, like when it comes to anime content, people invest in the person, bro. It's not about the anime content. We all love anime, bro, but people invest into the person, bro, who's talking about the anime, bro. And that's why I think like sometimes we get discouraged from starting things because we see other people doing it. But like sometimes you have to realize you're not gonna do it like they did it. You're gonna do it like you do. Like only you do it. You feel me? And,
Yeah,
and
there's
then that separates you.
I heard somebody say one time that in order to get big on YouTube or like social media platforms, but especially YouTube, you either have to be very entertaining, very uh, vulnerable and self-revealing, or very informative, right? And those were like three of the main criteria. So when I think about informative, I think about the calc stackers, right? Like the guys who are willing, the people who are willing to go into every single, like go into the data books, to go into the manga, to reread the chapters, to reread the entire books and stuff like that, to get their content together and stuff like that, to do deep dives into reading all that shit and going back and writing a script out for it. And, the calc stackers who sit there and they cross reference the power levels and they they calculate how big of a dent a power move made it to the ground to figure out the attack potency and all this extra shit, and then to figure out how fast they are compared to the speed of light, and got the high ball, the low ball, all this shit. I'm like, man, fuck that. I can't do that. I mean, I want to do something, but I can't do it on that level. I just know myself. I don't want to say can. I can do anything I put my mind to, but that's just not that appealing to me. But it's, man, I love to listen to it. But then you got like the super philosophical guys, right? And a lot of those topics that are philosophical that I would cover have already been covered. So I have to attack it on my own angle, right? But then you have the real entertaining guys who ain't really super into lore and content they talk about. But man, them niggas is funny. So that's like Long Beach Griffey, uh, uh, maybe CJ Champ sometimes. He knows when he act like he does. You got Mo Lowry, you got, Long Beach Griffey, Daquan Whiteshire, Sensei, and
Hey,
you got
Mike is kind of it's got some feedback. You can go to your settings, bro.
the
Um,
my beard.
oh, it might be over there.
My beard, it sound better now.
Yeah,
I think the mic was rubbing on my beard.
that makes sense. Cause I mean, it still got a little static, but I don't know what. I mean, you do got a long ass beard. It's easy tops.
Hey, bro, we gonna end this up soon, man. But man, this is these content creators that I love right now. Like I love listening to them and their content, and like the real philosophical ones. And I'm way philosophical myself. Then it's like people who break down just all the history and they get the fun facts behind the anime. Then people could really just break down the anime itself. Like Mr. Tomo, I love his shit. Right? It's this British dude. He talking about Bleach content, and he just been going deep. Like then you turn back the pendulum arc, the Thousand Year Blood War arc, and all these different things, and just telling the story. And just the way somebody can summarize and get to the good parts of what they think is important, and retell the story to make you feel like you're there. That's great too. But if you got some thoughts, man, you can go ahead and share some thoughts. We go ahead and head up out of there. I'm gonna put a couple of, while you're talking real quick about the put. I forgot to do this. I'm gonna put some of your artwork on here.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. I got a big drop coming pretty soon, but I'm working on this anime series for a friend of mine's. I'm doing this whole anime lineup and character creation. So I got a lot of pencil drawings and stuff that I'm gonna put up there and stuff for y'all boys. Um, I paint, I draw, I do the digital work. So you know what I'm saying. Again, hit up your boy for those things. Oh, and also when it comes to this blood the 1,000 year blood war art. Listen, Bleach is one of my favorite animes, bro. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Y'all, man, people been trying to hold my anime for a long time, bro. And I don't understand why they try to put Bleach down because, Hunter X Hunter came out and, you know what I'm saying, it got remade into the one that we know today with that Chimera Ant art. And you know what I'm saying? I've been watching anime since I was like 12, before it was like cool to fucking watch anime. You get what I'm saying? So I just wanted to let y'all know that I fuck with y'all. You know what I'm saying? We gonna make some good content. Um, and I got some more content and some anime matches that I got in the future that we gonna get popping, man. We gonna get popping, man.
And no doubt, and we do plan to get some more content coming out lately. Some more merch, some more Brokage merch, and really just got to get some of these designs together. Because I remember it was one night, it was you and me. We sat up and we worked on like just brainstorming, and we got on the software with the designs, and we came up with some ideas. And made this Brokage symbol right here, and then I went and what did I do? I had to get the negatives. Was it the negatives? I forgot what you call that shit when you switch around the colors of it. But I had to switch it around and make some t-shirts and some headband and some face masks. I use like headbands sometimes. And to make some Brokage merch and wear them to like anime conventions. Sometimes I wear them when I go to like perform or I'm going out of town or somewhere. I'm just taking pictures and shit. And I just wear my Brokage merch, because that's part of what it is, part of the brand. But I'm trying to get some more uh, drawings and some more artwork and stuff like that together, and, and get some more stuff to wear, and it just be more fly. You know what I mean?
For sure, man. I got like I said, I got a whole list, and shoot, the goal before the end of the year is to hit my record of like break a lot of my records with myself, where it was like the last 3 years before I had only did like 2 or 3 a year. 'Cause I was going through stuff, but this year I was able to do more than like 20. So now uh I'm trying to double that by the end of the year. So that by next year, when y'all come to the conventions and I have to display tables, y'all can come, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, I also be able to put some Brokage merch at the table as well and stuff like that. And you know what I'm saying, I'm working with another partner who owns a smoke and vape shop. We're gonna have some stuff from there too.
Man,
Um,
some Kage trades would be crazy, bro.
yeah, man, we look. I look. We trying. We gonna. I'm trying. Well, I'm trying to branch out into different things, and we're gonna design different things, bit by bit. And as we make more products, we're gonna allow y'all to get it. We're gonna have events and stuff, and hopefully, y'all come out, support, have fun. You know what I'm saying, and meet some new people that actually like what you like too, man. As black nerds, I know it's hard to find people that like anime or doesn't look down on it. But this is the safe space for y'all, man. So you know we want y'all to feel encouraged to participate, man.
And I'm gonna say this right here too. It's like nowadays it is popular, so it's not as hard to find people who like it, but it's kind of hard to find a combination of these two things, right? In general, right? People who are into it enough to really know the shows that they be wearing T-shirts of, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
also aren't gatekeepers. It is kind of hard to find that balance between actually being deep into it, but not being a gatekeeper. Like it can be frustrating.
it really can, especially when you know a lot of anime. A lot of people you tend to find they only know the mainstream, or they're like beginners into this anime stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, it's not as hard as it used to be because all these celebrities have been pushing the anime stuff, like Megan Thee Stallion and all these, and people like Michael B. Jordan. They're putting it out there that it's cool to be, to like these anime things because it's getting popular and stuff like that. So you know, uh, you know, y'all already know what it is with us. We just
But
gonna
the,
keep more content. So
but that gatekeeper shit be whack too because it's like, yo, niggas be scaring the bitches off and goddamn, what else be going on? It's like with the gatekeeper and stuff. It's just like, nigga, I don't care about that damn shoujo. Like, I don't give a fuck about that slice of life show, nigga. I'ma watch this Bleach. I'ma watch niggas hit each other with swords. Call me what you want. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'ma watch me some seinen. I'ma watch me some shonen. And every once in a blue moon, I might watch me some real chill. But I did enjoy that show, The Way of the House Husband. That was very enjoyable for me. I ain't gonna lie to you, but you know,
If y'all want a good anime, I would suggest Black Butler. Is a good one. And
uh, listen, especially if your name is Chris Hansen, and but I call you Chris Hansen, then you really gonna like Black Butler, especially season two, because it's got a little bit of bussy vibes on there.
yeah. Hell yeah. Oh yeah. Also, there's this anime called Angel of Death and Death Parade. Those two are really good animes too. But
Death, yeah, I don't
uh,
know that one. I don't know
yeah,
that, but that.
Death Parade is basically an anime about
I heard,
the afterlife, and then basically how they passed away and why they came to like limbo basically.
now I've heard the name Death Parade. I don't know about Angel of Death, but you know what? A good show for people to watch. Yeah, we can bring up some random ones. If you like some dystopian shit, if you would like to watch a more dark, serious version of Starship Troopers, then Blue Gender's a good show to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Blue,
If you story with action, but it kind of gives you like Dead Man Wonderland vibes, but it's kind of like um, it's kind of giving you like how it's kind of give you a Comic Got Kill vibes mixed in with a little bit of that Dead Man Wonderland vibe with the scientist and the girl. I think y'all would really enjoy that one. That's a really good one. Um, yeah, and I think the last one I'm gonna suggest before we get off, man, is which one I should say. Um,
Man, hit them niggas with classic, man.
the Crown. Man, I'm trying. Hey, listen, you gotta get that 100x 100. I gotta kind of end it off on that because, like, listen, bro, season 3 coming, bro. Y'all already know what's going on. Going about to go crazy.
And I'm gonna throw one out there, man. Y'all niggas need to watch Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. That's a
Oh
great.
yeah, that's the one, bro. That shit good, bro.
Now check this out. The reason I bring that up is because sometimes it's really hard to find something for anime and chill because sometimes with anime and chill, it's like, damn, I kind of want to watch a movie because this bitch ain't never really seen this show, and the first few episodes ain't really hitting like that. But then she gonna get bored, and then it's like you ain't trying to skip forward to the good shit. But it's like, you know what, man, fuck it, I'm gonna just watch an anime movie. So just go ahead and pop in Fist of the North Star, or Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, or Ninja Scroll, like one of the classics, or Akira. You know, those go hard. If she don't like too much gore or psychological shit, well, that's not true either. But I'm gonna say go with Spirited Away. That's a good choice always.
Oh yeah, great. One of the best movies they made as a kid. Straight up. Food Wars, y'all. That shit good.
Don't watch it in front of your parents though. Like if you
Don't.
got people,
Hey, listen, y'all. Hey, listen. If you watch Food Wars, watch it in your room by yourself, because there's gonna be some sexual things going on with the food. You know what I'm saying?
like why this bitch look like she busted a nut because she ate a potato? Well,
Hey,
it's
but
fun game.
that's your show too, because they give you real cooking facts. So if you want to learn how to cook some shit, watch that shit for real. But I made it off on this one. I watched this anime probably like 2-3 months ago. It's fucking a slap, and it needs a season 2. It's called Akuma the Drive. Watch that shit. Is literally a 9. Is literally a 9 out of 10.
Now that's hard right there too. And let me throw one more random one out there, and we can end this up for the night. Air Gear. Y'all need to watch Air Gear.
My favorite. I've watched Air Gear probably 4 or 5 times, and OVS.
Oh yeah, Air Gear is a bop right there. But hey, we had fun, y'all, and we about to
Exactly.
call it a morning. I guess it's morning now, so we up out of here.